Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and thanks for watching. First on the docket, new information on the Floyd Vallow and Chad Daybell matters. Second, police find a 1.5-year-old in a 4x4 dog kennel. Third, parents arrested for using cattle prods on their kids. Fourth, those pesky dash cams recording officers' conversations among themselves. Fifth, all 4 ex-Minneapolis police officers charged in the death of George Floyd agree to have their trials televised. Sixth, Justin Bieber sues for defamation and gets another sexual assault allegation. 7, Elijah McClain. You may not be familiar with his name, but you may be real soon. And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day and the week contestants. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Crime Talk, and I am Scott Reisch. Now, we have a busy docket, so let's get right to it. New information on the Floyd Vallow and Chad Daybell case. And anytime, there's news in the Floyd Vallow and Chad Daybell matters, it's going to be weird and it's going to be sad. Well, today it's definitely sad. The Ada County Coroner's Office has confirmed that the autopsies on JJ and Tylee have in fact been completed. However, a lot of the tests that they have been doing will take several weeks for the results to come back. The sad part today was that it was in fact confirmed that Tylee's body was in fact dismembered and burned. That's according to some recently released court documents. That wasn't surprising given the information that was released in the affidavit for arrest warrant for Chad Daybell, given the fire pit, the pet cemetery, as well as the burning of foliage that was given in the text messages that the FBI was able to complete. Now, although that is sad information to hear, obviously it certainly wasn't unexpected given the information that we learned in the Chad Daybell arrest warrant and the fact that the conversations on text messages included burning of foliage, dead animals put in the pet cemetery on the property. It's just sad, but it's news, and those are the facts, and that's why we brought them to you. Next on the docket, police find a 1.5-year-old in a 4x4 dog kennel. So, in Tennessee, authorities have charged 3 people after a toddler was found in a dog kennel during an animal rescue raid in Henry County, Tennessee. According to police reports, the deputies raided a single-wide mobile home with several outbuildings in the northern portion of the county on Thursday. According to police, the 1.5-year-old boy was found in a 4x4 cage. The child was found in the living room and had no toys or blankets in the kennel. Everything that the child possessed or played with was in fact in that kennel, according to the police. Now, the police were originally there for an animal rescue raid, and they found 3 buckets filled with hundreds of mice that were propped up next to the cage where the child was found. 3 feet to the left, there was a 10-foot boa constrictor. In total, there were 8 snakes found in the room. The police officers noted that there was a lot of police experience up there and they had seen a lot of things, but this absolutely shocked them. The sheriffs also reported that they found 15 to 20 dogs running loose on the property, and there was feces everywhere on the floor. Not to mention, cockroaches and maggots were also found throughout the residence. Apparently, this is not a very well-traveled road, and these individuals simply wanted to live their life. They apparently, according to the police, didn't understand that there were certain norms that need to be followed in a civilized society. The 3 suspects included 46-year-old T.J. Brown, 42-year-old Heather Scarborough, and 82-year-old Charles Brown. They've all been charged with aggravated child abuse, aggravated cruelty, possession of firearms and the commission of a felony, manufacturing of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia, along with some cruelty to animal charges. All are being held on a $300,000 bond, and their next court appearance is June 30th at 9 a.m. Now, if that last story wasn't enough to completely question your faith in humanity, wait, there's more. A Sioux Falls, South Dakota couple is currently in jail facing dozens of felony charges after being accused of giving meth and pot to their children. Oh, and by the way, using an electric cattle prod on them. That's right, an electric cattle prod. According to police, the department began working on this case back in May when one of the children called the police reporting that his stepfather, Lance Long, and his mother, Crystal Lynn Long, had been abusing them. Police report that the couple used 3 hot-shot cattle prods on the majority of their 4 children, ages 17, 13, 11, and a 15-year-old girl. They all said that the children had been given methamphetamine and marijuana by Lance Long. Apparently, the couple took off to Oklahoma, but was ultimately brought back to South Dakota for charges. They faced 3 counts of aggravated assault and a dangerous weapon, 4 counts of distribution of marijuana to a minor, 3 counts of distribution of a controlled substance to a minor, 4 counts of abuse and cruelty to a minor, along with additional charges that may be forthcoming. Ladies and gentlemen, I have told you this before. A society will be judged on how they treat their children and the women in their community. If they treat them all with respect and they take care of them, things are usually going quite well. If there's no respect for the children, things are usually going downhill. If there's usually no respect for the women or the children, usually things are going downhill pretty quickly. All right, let's take a quick recess from all that good news and do something a little more positive. Well, that's right. I know that's the part that everybody seems to hate, but y'all are signing up and we appreciate that. We like helping our sponsors because they help us. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com and sign up for your subscription to background searches. That's right, you get unlimited searches. You can search yourself, friends, online dating prospects, and even celebrities. There's a no-risk trial. Give it a try. If you don't like it, cancel at any time. You can search anonymously. That means no one will know that you're doing it. You get to search all public records in one easy report. That's right, criminal records, social media records, bankruptcy, court records, including divorce, marriage records, home values, and more. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for this. I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. And after listening to those first 3 stories, you're not going to want to go out and meet anyone unless you've done a background check on them. It's just the world we live in. Next on the docket, those pesky dash cams malfunctioning and recording conversations among police officers. Well, that's right. I can tell you 3 people that won't want background checks run on them. They are now former police officers, James Gilmore, Jesse Moore, and Kevin Piner. In a press release, the Wilmington, North Carolina Police Department announced the firing of those 3 officers. Apparently, a supervisor was doing a routine audit of a patrol car camera, which revealed the device malfunctioned and accidentally recorded 2 phone calls between the officers. During one of the exchanges, a now former police officer, Piner, and Gilmore were reportedly heard criticizing ongoing protests over police brutality. Piner apparently quipped that the police department's sole concern was kneeling down with the black folks. Gilmore was apparently reported overheard talking about a video that he described as white people on their knees worshiping blacks. In another conversation, Moore called Piner and told him about a black woman he had arrested, and he had apparently used a racial slur and commented that she needed a bullet in her head. Now remember, these are police officers talking amongst themselves. Later on, Piner was allegedly heard talking about society being close to martial law. He states, quote, "We're going to go out there and just start slaughtering them effing N-words. I can't wait. God, I can't wait," the officer said. When Moore said he wouldn't do that, Piner commented that he, quote, "couldn't wait," according to the report put out by the police department. Officer Piner then explained to Corporal Moore that he felt society needed a civil war to wipe him off the effing map. That'll put him back 4 or 5 generations. Moore, Piner, and Gilmore were all fired for violating the conduct codes. Officials also determined that Moore and Piner's hate-filled speech violated the department's policy on criticism and inappropriate jokes. Apparently, All 3 officers allegedly denied being racist when confronted by their supervisors. They reportedly blamed their comments on the stress of the ongoing protests. And just when these 3 officers thought it couldn't get any worse, the district attorney in Hanover County is reviewing 89 cases involving those particular officers. And apparently, according to their review, they've already dismissed some of those cases where the officers were involved. The district attorney's office has stated that we've made the determination that these 3 officers are not credible, and we do not intend to call them in the future for any case whatsoever. And we have stated this before. There's good police officers that truly want to serve and protect their community. At least we're finding the bad ones and getting rid of them as quickly as possible. Next on the docket, all 4 ex-police officers charged in connection with the George Floyd death have asked the court to authorize that all trials be televised. This issue's come about because, as in most court proceedings, the media has to file a request for what is commonly referred to as expanded media coverage. Oftentimes, court rules are imposed and it relates to the restriction of videotaping any of the proceedings. Additionally, the court will have to consider if a party objects. Now, all 4 of the police officers in this particular case that are charged with the death of George Floyd want the matters televised. Apparently, the state of Minnesota has yet to take a position on the motion, but the defendants believe that it will help with a fair trial in light of the state and other governmental actors' multiple inappropriate public comments and to assure an open hearing in light of the ongoing pandemic. In their motion, counsel for the defendants go into the Minnesota General Rules of Practice, Rule 4.02D, and that applies. And it states that criminal cases which occur before a guilty plea has been accepted or a guilty plea has been returned, and generally authorizes recording with a written or on-the-record consent of the parties. All of the defendants request video coverage of all proceedings in this matter. They further state that this gives a right to a fair trial. Specifically, they want the court to allow video and audio coverage of all proceedings, regardless of the lack of consent from the various agencies prosecuting all 4 of these defendants. In fact, the attorneys for all of the defendants say that the government has engaged in unethical leaks of information and many prejudicial comments from the governor, attorney general, as well as the county attorney and the mayor of Minneapolis, the commissioner of public safety, and now the Minneapolis chief of police. They say that video and audio coverage is necessary to promote the possibility of a fair trial. They state, like we've talked about here many, many times, the jury must be impartial and jurors must be unbiased. Failure to allow real-time video coverage of these proceedings will deprive the defendants of a fair and open trial, a right assured to them under the Minnesota and the United States Constitution. The attorneys specifically attack the media from the various officials who have breached their duty to the community. They further state that the state's comments have crescendo to an extraordinary volume this week, with the chief pronouncing, quote, "What happened to Mr. Floyd was murder," end quote. The state's conduct has made a fair and unbiased trial extremely unlikely, and the defendants seek video and audio coverage to let a cleansing light shine on these proceedings. Doing otherwise allows these public officials to geld the Constitution. That's a lot of pretty flowery language, but it hits the spot. I am a firm believer. I think that all criminal proceedings should be available for anyone to watch literally at any given time. Letting the lights shine in, you will see that the cockroaches begin to run. And obviously the defense says we have nothing to hide in this particular case, and they want the evidence heard to the public so that they can see it. Now, what took place with Mr. Floyd and Officer Chauvin putting his knee in Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds was unnecessary and certainly contributed to the death of Mr. Floyd. However, the defense is going to bring up lots of evidence in this particular case about what could have caused the death. They're going to go into their training and experience about this, the police procedures, and they're going to say that they're following police procedures. They're also going to be saying that the other officers that were with Officer Chauvin were simply just following orders, basically. This is all going to come out at trial. Obviously, the video has been seen by lots and lots of people, but these defense attorneys are going to come up and defend this case vigorously. Everyone should watch it, and they should watch it with an unbiased eye for a quest for the truth. Next on the docket, Justin Bieber sues the individuals making sexual allegation claims for $10 million. Now, we reported on this earlier in the week that an individual had made a claim that Justin Bieber had in fact sexually assaulted her in Austin, Texas many years ago. Justin Bieber responded with documents showing that he did not stay at the Four Seasons Hotel as alleged. Additionally, he had his then girlfriend at the time, Selena Gomez, saying that he was with her the entire time. So now he is seeking $10 million from both defendants based upon their claims made on Twitter. But then, guess what? That's right. Mr. Bieber gets another allegation. There's a lady with a Twitter handle of It's Not Katie, K-A-D-I, and states, quote, "I believe Danielle, I'm a victim of sexual assault by Justin Bieber too." She says that she was sexually assaulted by Mr. Bieber at the Langham Hotel in New York City on May 5th of 2015. She goes into great detail about that, but we're not going to repeat it here. Apparently, It's Not Katie received a lot of backlash, and her response simply was, "All the proof and evidence is not for me to show you all, so why should I bother? My lawyer gets those, nobody else." We'll see how those allegations plays out, and we'll follow Justin Bieber's suit as well. Next on the docket, Elijah McClain. You may not be familiar with this name, but I think you are going to be real soon. Well, Governor Jared Polis has appointed the state's attorney general to reopen the investigation into the death of Elijah McClain, who was a 23-year-old black man from Aurora, Colorado, who died last summer after police placed him in a chokehold. The district attorney from Adams County refused to prosecute this particular case, but some 3 million people filed a petition to have this matter further investigated, and Governor Polis appointed Attorney General Phil Weiser. And Phil Weiser made a statement stating, quote, "Whenever someone dies after an encounter with law enforcement, the community deserves a thorough investigation. Our investigation will be thorough, guided by the facts, and worthy of public trust and confidence in the criminal justice system," end quote. Now, it's reported, and body cam footage shows, that McClain was reportedly walking home from a convenience store on August 24th when police responded to a call of a, quote, "suspicious man." He had on a ski mask. Officers detained McClain by placing him in a chokehold. Paramedics arrived on the scene and injected him with a large dosage of ketamine for the purpose of sedating him. Body cam footage shows McClain being wrestled to the ground, vomiting, crying, and gasping, "I can't breathe," as the police continued to detain him. 3 days later, he was declared brain dead, and an autopsy as to the cause of death was found to be inconclusive. Now, McClain's mother, Shella, pointed her finger directly at the officers who arrested him as being responsible for his death. She believes that they, in fact, murdered him. They were bullies with a badge. In November of 2019, Dave Young, the district attorney for Adams County, which includes Aurora, declined to charge the officers involved in the exchange. And after a February 2020 Police Force Review Board inquiry, it was determined that the officers had a lawful reason to engage McClain and that the use of force was, quote, "within policy and consistent with training," end quote. But a petition reportedly signed by almost 3 million people, Polis was moved to take a new look at the case. In addition, Young's office has received more than 10,000 calls and 2,000 emails asking for the 3 officers linked to McClain's death to be removed from the Aurora Police Department. Now, before everybody gets fired up about Mr. McClain wearing a ski mask in August, apparently he is anemic and is constantly cold. He's apparently rather introverted, as you can hear on the police body cams, where he's asking the police officers to stand back. And in his spare time, he apparently goes and plays the violin at animal shelters for the animals. Hardly a hardened street criminal. We'll see how this case ultimately winds up. There's apparently going to be a large protest in Aurora, Colorado this weekend regarding this particular case, and hopefully it stays peaceful. And finally, on today's docket, the dumb criminal contestant of the day. Our dumb criminal contestant of the day is Juan Christian, 38 years old, and he's from Florida. Well, apparently, Mr. Christian knew that he was not going to be able to pass his urinalysis test at his probation office visit. So instead of just showing up and taking the heat, what does he do? He does the next logical thing. That's right, he calls the probation department and he calls in a bomb threat. And with today's technology, even though Mr. Christian used a block number, the police were still able to track the phone back to him. And he ultimately confessed when talked to by police and saying he did it because he didn't want to go to his appointment and have his probation be violated. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're not on probation, but if you are, most probation officers are not going to violate you for one hot UA. In today's kinder, gentler world, they're going to say, you probably need some more classes. You probably need some more therapy. But they're probably not going to revoke your probation. You have to work pretty hard these days to get your probation revoked. Now, maybe Mr. Christian had 50 hot UAs, and maybe this was going to be the one that broke the camel's back. However, probably not. Now, Mr. Christian has new charges based upon his bomb threat. For that, Mr. Christian, you are our dumb criminal contestant of the day. And what does that do for Mr. Christian? Well, it doesn't quite get him a Crime Talk mug just yet. That's right, because he still has to compete with the dumb criminal contestants from the previous 4 days. And they are as follows. Yesterday's dumb criminal contestant, Alexander Hasinger, who threatened to shoot up all the police on social media. Prior to that, Becky Bartlett and Robert Ybarra. Yes, that was the burned pizza case. And don't call the police if you know you have an outstanding warrant for distribution of marijuana. Then we have Bug Hall, the actor who played Alfalfa in The Little Rascals, who was snorting air. That's right, compressed air. And finally, our last dumb criminal contestant for the week, James Ransom, who apparently was so intoxicated and out of it that he went around telling everybody that he was the Godfather Michael Corleone. Vote for your dumb criminal contestant of the week. Don't believe the poll will show up unless you're on a computer. Let us know what you think about the new information about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Next, let me know about what you think about the people who will not be getting the Parents of the Year award. What should happen to them? And are you okay with these police officers being fired for their comments that were captured on the body cam? I am. And let me know what you think. Do you think the state's going to object to having all the officers in the George Floyd case trial being televised? Somehow, I have a feeling they're going to. And finally, let me know what you think about Justin Bieber. Has he opened up a can of worms? Let me know. Leave your comments below. And as always, if you would like to get a Crime Talk mug without having to become a dumb criminal contestant of the week, an actual winner of the week, all you have to do is hit the link below and you can do that. Visit our sponsors because they help us come to you. So go to crimetalksearch.com or go to crimetalkoffers.com and see all of our sponsors there. Have a great day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.